Hello, and welcome to the next episode as I go through the powers of Mary Magdalene. And today's power is the fifth power, the enslavement to the physical body. Now, I believe that this power has to do with the time after Jesus died and Mary Magdalene's decision. Because at that time, Jesus had died for his beliefs, and it was up then to Mary Magdalene and the rest of the apostles to kind of pass on the message. But in doing this, they were ultimately risking their own lives. So, enslavement to the physical body, in the way that Mary Magdalene was looking at it, was the fact that she was prepared to die for her beliefs in order to pass on this message of what Jesus had taught her. So, when we relate that to our own lives, to me, it speaks to what are we willing to fall on the sword for? What thing are we willing to stand up for? It's the Seven of Wands in the tarot, right? In the RWS. It's like, where are our beliefs and that we're willing to stand up and say, no, this is what I believe, regardless of the consequences of this belief. So when we look at the fifth gate of Inanna and link it with that, Inanna's fifth gate is about boundaries and setting boundaries for self-care, for dealing with possible addictions and trauma that come into our lives, and try and infringe on our ultimate care for ourselves. So when we look at this boundary piece, boundaries are an act of self-care, and they can be difficult to set up when there's trauma in the past that makes us want to be liked, makes us not want to say no. So this week, as I look at the fifth power of Mary Magdalene, I'm going to be looking again at the boundaries in my life. What am I, what are my no-go areas that I am willing to stand up for, willing to set these firm, difficult boundaries with people and things in my life. So we then go back to that piece of like addiction when we're talking about things like what in our lives is coming in so hard that it is affecting our ultimate self-care and self-empowerment, or what people are stepping over those boundary lines and they can be sneaky, and kind of pushing us to a point where we're not taking care of ourselves, or where we're not comfortable, or we're not being treated with respect. And I'm going to be looking at this week and seeing if, and just like a check-in, and seeing if there's any areas of release that need to happen, any boundaries I need to set. In the book, The Way of Inanna, by The Way of Inanna, A Heroine's Guide to Living Unapologetically by Sienna Zalonzo. There's some great rituals in there, and there's actually a boundary a ritual in there, which is fantastic. So I'd highly recommend it if you're going to be diving into that area. So that's what I'm going to be looking at this week, and that is Mary Magdalene's fifth power, Inanna's fifth gate. Now, I want to take a little side tour, and not related to this particular power, but related to the deity work, the goddess work that I've been doing as a whole over the last little while, with Inanna specifically. And I've been working with a deity and goddess energy for years and years and years. But it was really only when I started working with Inanna that it kind of took on a new shape and form. Instead of it being this external thing that I did, this kind of goddess on an altar that I kind of embodied the energy of, or to, it's so difficult to describe in words these very internal things, but I'm trying. But with Inanna, it's a very different practice. It's very living and breathing outside of, you know, ritual and specific time and a specific reading. It's really embodying a new way of being. And as now we're getting to like this fifth gate, and I've kind of worked around these, for a little while now, there is some transformation that's taking place. And it's not obvious because it's just who you are or who you're becoming. It's not major changes, and it's internal, right? So I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and as well as saying like a whole lot of other fine things. The person making the video made a comment, and they said, I'm not special. I'm nothing special. And I feel like in the past that wouldn't have really, that wouldn't have really really hit me in any way. They were obviously some self-esteem issues, perhaps, or perhaps not. Perhaps they're just not a remarkable human being and just an ordinary human being, which is fine. But in working with Inanna and all the goddesses that surround her, and really embodying this way of seeing myself and seeing everyone else, that comment just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, no, and they're like, no, because I feel like the transformation that has already taken place within me is realizing how extraordinary I am and how extraordinary we all are. Like divine little beings on our physical bodies, doing our part on this earth with our limited time. And so I felt it was necessary to just put this out there to kind of balance out the universe. And just remind everybody, you are super special. I'm super special. We are all remarkable, amazing, incredible, beautiful beings. So if ever you're in a spot where you're feeling not special, not divine, you are. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I just need to get off my chest. So that's all I have for you this week for episode 5, and I hope you're enjoying this. And we're coming to the end now. Let's look at the 6th power of Mary Magdalene and see what we got next week. The 6th power is the false peace of the flesh. That's what's coming next week. See you then.